I had a hobby too. Mine happened to be guns and ballistics, and I studied guns and ballistics as much as I could, and I wrote an article about high velocity.
So out of all my years working at Weatherby, the last 5 have been some of the most exciting. Working with Adam, with him running the company.
And to think that I get the opportunity of carrying on my grandfather's legacy 75 years later here in Sheridan, Wyoming, I mean, it really is a dream come true.
Oh, I'm home. Thank God I'm home.
On our mark, the Weatherby Podcast.
All right, welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Call, and we are in a lodging on Kodiak Island. And Brad Hunt and I are here along with the Weatherby crew. We've got Adam Weatherby here. We're going to go around the room and do a few introductions. We also have Joe, who is not from Weatherby, and he's not with Gritty either. Who is Joe with? You're going to find out, folks, in just one moment. Let's start with you, Adam. Give folks who don't know a little background on you and who you are real quick.
You bet. Adam Weatherby. Grandpa started a gun company in 1945, and 78 years later, we're having the time of our lives making the world's finest firearms and ammunition, Brian. Out of Sheridan, Wyoming.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Now, you started out in Commie, California?
We started out in California.
California?
Yeah.
It slips sometimes.
Yeah, we were. We moved it. So Brenda and I, my wife and I, moved it out to Wyoming from California in 2018.
Nice.
And
haven't looked back.
It has been an amazing 5 years. And what's cool is, in kind of segueing and introducing the rest of my team, is I think a lot of things have been accomplished since moving to Wyoming. But the team that we've been able to develop, if Brenda and I are most proud of anything, it's the team we now have. So it's pretty exciting. And we have a few of them here, Brian.
Yeah, let's meet that team. Folks that are listening, we're going to get into Kodiak Island. We hunted deer, we hunted ducks, we fished, did a little of everything. We're going to get into that experience here in a minute. But let's continue with the introductions. We got Tyler.
Yep, Tyler Grayton. I'm the marketing manager at Weatherby.
I've been saying your name wrong forever.
Everyone always says my last name wrong, so
Grayton.
Yeah, it looks like Grethen, so
that's what
just
that's
say
how
hey
I
you.
Say it. Is that how you say it, JD?
I say it different every time. Double mics. I'm JD Ponciano, product manager for Peak 44, and Weatherby.
What do you do? What do you do?
Nobody knows. It's really confusing. I'm the product manager for Peak 44, so we build carbon fiber stocks for all the backcountries, but we also make them for non-Weatherby, so REM 700, Tika, variety of other actions. We do universal, so you can do Defiance and all the custom stuff too.
And you guys, your introduction to this area we came to hunt was through you, right, JD? You've
Correct.
been here.
Yep.
How many times?
This is my third trip. So first time I came with Jerry was in 2016. Back then you could kill $3. So we did the trip in 2016. It was phenomenal. We killed 18, I think. Then we did it again in 2017.
You're the reason they changed it to $1 per non-resident.
But then I had this gap, obviously, from 17 to now. So this is the first time I've been back since then.
Nice. Yeah, I want to get your perspective in a minute here because you've been here before, what it was like this year in contrast to other years. But Tyler, going back to you, where are you from?
I'm from Missouri originally. Yeah. I'm in the land of Mark Livesey for you gritty.
That's right.
Gritty listeners.
I was just there, hanging out, hunting
and
whitetails.
What did you think of Missouri? It was a little better than what you expected.
Well,
right?
I was expecting it to be a lot more dangerous and redneck, but it was actually kind of like being in Oregon or something with less homeless people.
Yes, less homeless people.
I mean, maybe if I went to the right spot, I would have found them. But no, we were in some beautiful farm country, fresh cut corn. Lots of whitetails.
Say probably some mix of some timber, a little bit of
and there was a few highways and truck stops nearby, and some spots we were in, and so it's it was cool. It was gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So my opinion of Missouri is a little bit better than it was, but only a little because I do know about Mark Livesey and his past and growing up there. So there's dark. I think there's dark parts of Missouri. I just didn't see them.
Yeah, there are definitely some spots to not.
So how long have you been to Weatherby?
So
then?
I moved to Sheridan, Wyoming last August. I've been with Weatherby a little over a year, so a year and a couple months.
Yep.
So yeah, it's been great. Sheridan's not that great.
Are you the
Don't move there.
in the group? Are you kind of the duck guy?
I am
I'm
definitely
getting that
in this crew the duck guy for sure.
Usually, I think duck guys are duck guys because they can't big game hunt.
I mix it up. I do a little bit of both. Whoa, shots fired.
I could be wrong.
Hey, this is how I like to explain it. I enjoy big game hunting for like the chase, the experience.
Yeah.
But duck hunting is fun. I enjoy the camaraderie and like finishing birds, interacting. So I like that part of it.
It was fun. Yeah, for sure. Like riding a carnival ride, but killing a giant buck on a mountain has
there's something about that.
To it.
Yeah,
it's different.
I can't deny that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's manly duck hunting. This is the manliest.
This is manly duck hunting.
Yeah.
Say that again, JD.
If there's manly duck hunting, like this is the manliest. It's
Tyler's
Adam
the
said it a
manliest
bunch of
duck hunter.
times, like about that. This is like a big game hunt. It's not like because you have to be selective. It's totally different from any other type of duck hunting.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Well,
Sure.
and Brian's pretty avid duck hunter, so he's probably gonna have a lot to say about duck hunting today.
Yeah. So moving on, Joe.
Yeah, Joe Farinato. Currently, I'm the managing editor for Peterson's Hunting Magazine. But by the time this comes out, it's going to change. I'll be over at Field Ethos, the associate publisher. So
Nice.
yeah, that's who I am.
exciting.
I'm the mystery.
A lot of things changing.
Lots of things are changing. Man.
What was your impression overall of the Weatherby crew shooting animals out from under you all the time? Like it seemed like a.
It was
you're
hurtful.
you're not on the
It was really
team,
hurtful.
bro. You're
Yeah.
like close. I feel you because
Yeah.
Adam kind of did that to us.
Yeah, man, it was painful. I mean, I thought we were all friends, and they just kind of like kicked me down the mountain. Tyler punched me in the eye. My eye swelled up.
But hey,
it was rough.
then Adam pulled it out at the end. And
Yeah, Adam did really pull it out at the end. He kicked his crew aside and he's like, "Don't worry, Joe. I'll go with you. I'll be nice."
you guys got a nice buck.
Yeah, I got a really nice buck, and Adam was just on fire with the glass, man. He didn't even give me a chance to see deer. He was just like, "Look, there's deer here."
Joe
Yeah.
was on
There's more
fire
deer
with the
here.
shooting, though.
You would think because he's the fancy CEO and all that, he probably can't hunt. He just relies on a lot of people around him to get it done. But Adam can actually hunt.
Yeah, that's not Adam Weatherby. He's hardcore, as hardcore as it gets.
So
Thanks, Joe.
yeah, we've drug him up and down a few mountains. Like I don't think Adam's done a hunt with us that hasn't been physically
in
demanding.
fact, yeah, after I did that bear hunt with you guys, what year was that?
2021.
2021.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what I told people was two things. I said, the Gritty crew, they're and Ryan and Brad, I said, they're the real deal. They're authentic. And I just gained a lot of respect for them. Second, not sure I want to hunt with them ever again. So those were two realizations that I had.
But it was fun, right?
No, you guys make such a good team too between the hunting and the filming, because when you're behind the scenes with you guys, you realize it's hunting, but it's microphones, gimbals, tripods, big cameras, lav mics, battery charging, all these things. So you can do that on an easy hunt, maybe fairly well, but the way you guys hunt, to do that and team it up, I think that's a lot of your success in the past several years has been you're a master of both those things, and I've definitely realized that.
Well, Brad and I, we did not shoot bucks on this trip. We could have.
Yeah, we definitely could have shot bucks, but I don't know. My goal was to not just. I've never shot a single black sound.
Look, I saw some giants and it ruined me the rest of the trip. I only wanted those.
Yeah, and like
I didn't want to shoot anything else.
we hunted 5 days for the same, basically 2 bucks, and we saw those bucks 5 days. But it's also super thick, nasty country that they just disappear in pretty quick.
Yeah,
and weather. That's what I've learned over just a few years with Gritty and stuff. Is Alaska's not about the hunt itself; it's about the weather. And if you can hunt or not,
right?
And so that weather is so dependent on your success.
My first trip to hunt Sitka blacktails was Prince of Wales Island. It was August. I think it was 1990. No, anyway, it was a while ago. And
I don't know if I was born yet.
And
Brian and I are the old guys in the bunch.
and we flew out. We rented a car from her name was Maggie, I think was the car's name. All of them had chick names, and there was like 5 of them. The rental car service. There's only one on POW Island, and then we drove that to a little spot we marked, and then we hiked up a mountain, bushwhacked all the way up to the top, and got into deer. Well, we were there, I think it was 10 days, and we had 2 days of sunshine and 8 days of downpouring rain. Never seen. So when we went up, the rain was about ankle deep, or the creeks were about ankle deep. When we came back, they were chest deep, armpit deep, and we couldn't cross. We had to hike miles to find a log that had fallen so we could go across on a log. I tried to cross, and I lost my trekking poles and a few other things. I'm like, this is a little swifter than I thought. And then we got out of there. But I learned on that trip and subsequent trips that Alaskan adventures are highly dependent on how many sunny days you can get, because you could have a 10-day trip. We had 2 days. We killed all our bucks in those 2 days that were sunny. The other 8 days, was kind of just a grind and just trying to stay dry or being soaking wet. So on this trip, we had a fair bit of wind.
Yeah, like, I don't know, anybody, I think for me to tell anybody on a trip like this, it's like, if you can plan those 10 to 12 to 14 days, if possible, because again, weather, you may only get out of 12 days, you may only get 4 days, 5 days of actually like decent hunting.
Yeah. When I went up with Cole Kramer years ago and the Leopold crew, it was the same thing. I think we had like 2 or 3 days, two really good hunt days. We killed all our deer on the like few days. The other days we just rode out the storms. Mm-hmm. You know, we had a tsunami come and that kind of thing. So I'm curious, JD, has the weather been similar in your previous 2 trips, or?
Yeah, similar. I feel like we got awfully lucky with the way it turned out. We didn't lose any days to weather. The last 2 trips I came were 10-day trips. So we were here for a lot longer, and we, had days where it was just tough. We were up on the mountain, but we did have one of those days, I guess, that we just didn't turn up many deer, and it was just totally weather dependent, that, and I think the rut too, hitting the dates right, that this trip here, aligned with one of those trips as far as almost exact same dates, and the rut, was going really well. Where the other trip we came earlier and it just hadn't really started yet. So, it was a noticeable difference. Rut activity, weather, these guys know their patterns and all that stuff a lot more. Like they were saying, if it gets super windy, those deer will come down lower. And then the moment that wind stops, they'll get back to elevation. But, and that was the same case, the 2 trips that we came when we had weather, the deer came down and we actually shot some real close to the beach where, when we didn't have as much weather, then you had to just climb to the top every day.
Yeah, actually, that how we were looking at the website last night and saw JD with one of his bucks, that really big buck.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
He said it was 100 yards off the beach. No.
Wow.
You also said you shot 3 bucks before noon?
Yeah, 4. Not me. Yeah. We got dropped off, all 6 of us on the beach together. My buddy Jeff shot one like on the beach. Jerry just turned around, we loaded the buck in the boat. The rest of us went up the hill. I shot one with a bow, 5 yards. Me and my dad are right next to each other. We're like hugging and high-fiving. The noise of that buck dying called in another buck. My dad shot it with a rifle. I went to go look for it.
Okay, folks. The hunt we were on was nothing like
Not
this.
like this. No.
He's painting a picture. It made this sound
then
like...
after he shot the rifle one, he shot that big buck that we saw on the website with a bow.
That was the, third one, just me and my dad. And then my buddy Cody shot one. I heard him shoot. And I got on the radio and was like, everybody stop shooting. No more shooting deer. Like, we got to take it easy.
Wow.
This trip, we saw a lot of deer. Like, it was kind of hard to be not complaining, but we're like, oh, super slow today. And we still, we're getting into them. It just, you have these expectations of kind of almost unrealistic expectations that there's just deer everywhere. That crew before us, though, those guys struggled a little bit, and those guys get after it. So I think there's a lot of it. There's weather.
Well, one of the things that we learned on this trip from the crew that was here before and some of the guys that are here helping us out, the grass and the vegetation, that
was a big thing I forgot.
They were hanging on. And it was taller than these guys have seen it in 10, 15 years.
If they don't get the snow and the rain to knock that grass down, then it's up like it is.
It's
So
like a jungle out there. Like,
and the deer, they just disappear into it. So it's obviously tough finding them, but getting through
so
it was
much
the toughest
sign
part.
everywhere.
yeah.
And so there's just bucks high, low. You go, well, maybe they're high. There's
They're everywhere.
there's sign at all levels. It just depends if they're going to come out because the brush is so thick.
We did see some Kodiak brown bears, and we had some following us around a bit through the woods.
You stink.
That was eerie.
The first morning, me,
Yeah.
you, and Brad saw that one at, what do you think it was, 80 yards?
Yeah, we were just chatting and talking on the camera. Actually, I'm like, oh, there's a grizzly. There's a grizzly. And he's just walking by through the woods. Didn't see us.
I think we saw that same bear, but obviously that evening when we were coming down with Tyler's buck, the real dark colored one.
Yep.
But we were a lot further.
Those
than
tracks
you guys
that you saw last night, we were out last night,
Yep.
you and JD, those were the biggest bear tracks I've ever seen in my life.
Those are huge.
They look ridiculous, the photos of them.
Yeah. That was another. Yeah. I've never seen. I've seen a handful. I've seen some big tracks. Those were different, next level. Like
So-
they don't even look real, man. It's like a car moving through the woods.
So the crazy part was when I realized we were literally standing on those tracks, sounding off a predator call
Yeah.
to try to call in fox.
Adam's idea.
And at that moment, I was like, wait, bears are predators too, right? It was
Yeah.
not the-
Adam, did you notice that Brian separated himself from us at that point? He went and said he was going to go glass somewhere else.
I was gonna get him coming in on the fringes. I noticed. So JD, you got a fox.
Yeah, we didn't shoot any wolves.
There's no wolf. Yeah, a fox. And Kodiak Island has some beautiful foxes, and usually it's when I've been here, there's been one or two that get taken. So you got one, and Brad got one, both red,
Correct.
right? And yours was a female,
Mhm.
and Brad's was a male. I've been on a number of hunts, and I don't think we've ever taken a male. So it was my first experience smelling
They stink
that
so
thing.
bad.
Holy smokes! I didn't know a fox could smell like that.
I washed my backpack and it's still just awful. It's not good.
Yeah, Brad shot that fox.
Yeah,
It smells like a skunk.
So I don't know. I just shot a lot of foxes at home and stuff, and they stink. But the Kodiak fox is like a whole nother level, and
It must be the fish or the mussels.
I don't
and
know
the
what
beach
it is.
stuff
It's a
they
really
eat or-
skunky, and then just like a high ammonia type smell. I don't know, but
It's burning our eyes. And
I took my rain fly on my pack and I put it on my pack and I strapped the fox to that because I'm like, I'd rather not have it on my backpack itself. And so this whole time, like if I don't have the rain fly, it's in a Ziploc bag. And even right now, like my big duffel stinks so bad like fox. And I think we had that bear
Mhm.
kind of stepping in our tracks. And I think part of it was probably
Brad stink.
on my rain pants when I loaded that fox, it probably dripped on my rain pants a little bit.
Probably.
It,
Did your rain
okay,
pants-
Okay, it did. They're in a
smell
Ziploc bag
awful.
too. So I think that bear was just kind of
Who
Follow
knows?
that
But,
scent, but-
he definitely cut our tracks, and then he just followed them for a
Yeah.
good half a mile, maybe.
yep.
And probably we went down for about 2 hours, came back,
Uh-huh.
and he had followed us in that window. So he's lurking around us somewhere, and he wasn't afraid of us. He was following us,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But when you smell like skunk, I guess it's appealing, maybe. Otherwise, I can't imagine why you'd want to follow human scent in general, you know. But yeah,
Yeah, the foxes up here are cool. Like, I mean, JD's is a pup.
yeah.
But no, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. No, in all reality, like mine is like there's not hardly any difference between ours. And I think it's just a male and a female, and it's an inch taller.
My tail was significant.
It's just true. That is true, and it's white tipped, so I think it's a more pretty coat
Yeah.
than mine for sure.
All right, so let's talk a little bit. We got to get our young cameraman,
Yes.
photographer extraordinaire onto the show here. So we got Kobe Owens, and Kobe, you're 17.
Might look like it, but I'm 25 here.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm Kobe Owens. I'm the new content producer at Weatherby. I started this late September. Grew up in Montana and just made the move to Sheridan and absolutely loving it. Adam and I have missed my second hunt out with him. The first one wasn't his hunt, but we've got to spend some good time in the woods together and yeah, just loving it and making some photo magic.
So how long have you been with Weatherby then? It's been 2 months?
Yeah.
2 months. And you're not thinking of quitting, right? Like
No.
you're in.
I'm in Kodiak, dude. Like, yeah, no, it's been life changing because I was freelancing before. So to have worked really, really hard to get an opportunity like this, it's just it's life changing.
Well, your photography has been a joy to look at. It's incredible. Adam told me before we met that you're, pumped you up. Very talented, young, up and coming talent that he snatched up and has now locked in at Weatherby. And so excited to see the rest of what you do put together. So how was it filming this trip and taking the photos and everything? Was it what you kind of expected or?
No, I didn't really know what to expect terrain wise. But the weather wise, yes, windy, wet, just typical Kodiak weather. I had the Kodiak jacket. Yeah. I see why it has its name. But
how was it trying to film and photograph in these conditions?
Your camera's just gonna get wet no matter what. Like there's nothing you can do about it. But running the Sonys, it's I really trust their water tightness and ability in bad weather. I think the biggest issue is the wind with audio, right? Like just trying to get that good audio because that can make or break it. So trying to manage that and get tucked into little coves to kind of like, hey, let's do a little update or get some conversing and stuff like that.
Audio's super tough in these conditions, and lens is fogging up or getting just rained on. That's the other thing. When you got that wet and it's just cold enough, but not freezing, or it freezes for a moment and then gets cold, then warms up. Like you're just constantly toweling off lenses and stuff. It's a pain.
Yeah. I mean, multiple days is like, well, I should have brought 4 microfibers instead of 3. Like
we brought a towel.
Soaked.
We grabbed one of Jerry's towels and we just brought it with us and started using the
I have those
towel.
big like 10 by 10 microfibers that you just buy like 12 pack at Walmart for $10, and
we need a lot more of those.
I mean, I throw them away at the end of trips a lot of times because they just get so like it's all the stuff stuck to them, right? And we were cleaning shotguns with one of them because of the salt water.
Yeah,
so
that's what I had. Is I have one of like the big gun cleaning ones.
Yeah,
it's a big thick microfiber, and that for those days that it was raining, like quick. Half the day, it's already gone. It's soaked, waterlogged. It's like put it in your pack because it's not worth a dang anymore.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the weapons, the weaponry used on this trip. Everybody was, some of us had similar setups, but Adam, you shot the best buck of the trip.
Yes, that's correct.
100%.
Brian. Yes, that's correct.
You did. And he's a handsome stud. Not you, the buck.
He's a great buck. Well.
You too. Yeah. You're handsome.
No, we saw him. I'll tell the story here. I think I spotted this buck skylined
day one,
probably 10 a.m., maybe a mile up top, 1,000 foot higher than us. While I was doing that, because we were in the trees, it was just Brian, Brad, and I hunting, and they couldn't see. So they decided to go build a tree fort. So they climbed up extremely high in these trees and were glassing.
Yeah, and we were in a forest, but there was deer on the mountain, and we wanted to see it.
You know what? I right off the bat, as soon as it wasn't 5 seconds when I climbed the tree, I spotted a doe right away. It was like, there's deer.
I went for the more mature route of just kind of foraging on the ground rather than climbing the trees. So anyways, I was there. We actually were all kind of spotting bucks and does and things at the same time. And I saw a buck on the skyline enough, and I put my spotter, because I think you guys were binos because you're up in the tree. It's hard to put a tripod there. and saw that it was a 3x4.
Yep.
And it was a great buck. Then that morning, we almost lost sight of that buck because we saw about 5 bucks in the next 30 minutes.
Yeah, and we saw another buck that was a pretty decent buck. I think one of the top 2 bucks that we saw. And Adam had him in his sights. And yet we didn't really know. Brian and I were in the tree, and we actually had the camera rolling on the buck.
Adam abandoned his cameraman, and then he had him in his crosshairs. But
so technically, you could have shot the buck, and we would have had it on film, most likely,
because they were up in the tree about 100 yards behind me.
We were filming from in the tree.
I'm like, it's opening
the
morning.
Very buck that he was aiming at.
These guys are probably going to want to do a film. I'm just laying my eyes on the first few Sitka blacktails. And could have shot one of those bucks.
Yeah, it was very cool. That was that was the best day, I think, just as far as big buck sightings,
rut activity.
But so when you got on your buck, which was it was the next day, right?
Yeah,
the very next
Correct.
day. Yeah, I think it was. And when we got up in there, the buck came out. Now, what were you shooting?
I was shooting the Weatherby 6.5 RPM with the 124 hammer. It was in our backcountry carbon setup, Peak 44 carbon fiber stock. Light was great for this.
Yeah.
6.5 RPM I've killed a lot of things with.
Bullet?
The 124 grain hammer. It's a custom bullet they make for us. They're out of Kalispell, Montana. Make a really great bullet. Inherently the most accurate bullet that we use. It's a great bullet. It's all copper. It's it's lathe turned, but it's made for a hunting environment. However, when I got here, 2 things: the wind and all the brush. There's part of me that wishes I had a heavier bullet and heavier caliber.
Yeah, like a 338 RPM is like, we've talked about this a lot. I think is an ideal round for here and setup, because short barrel, hiking through the brush. You can use it as a bear gun. You can use it for deer. It has a heavier bullet to fight the wind. Because, I mean, days, like when you shot your buck, 40+ mile an hour gusts.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't take much.
There was a couple bucks, too, that we had in some thick. And you're like, I could get a bullet in there, but not this bullet.
You remember that bear hunt I did with you guys when we had the picture of me shooting my bear and it hit a stick. Yeah. And that stick, remember, in slow-mo, Brad, remember, flipped off the branch.
And then still went through and hit the bear and hit it solid.
That's correct. So anyways, I think mainly because of wind, because we were battling even when Joe and I went up, there was heavy hold, like we're measuring in feet, not in inches on wind drift on bullets. Probably in hindsight for me, I would take a heavier caliber, heavier bullet.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's what I was shooting, and I've killed a ton of things with it. Love it. It just, when it blows up on that hill, it just
that wind
blows.
Yeah.
Brad, we were carrying.
We had the new 307, the Alpine MTT models. I love that rifle. Like, I've shot it since I've had it. I haven't had it that long, just a few weeks, but I've put a lot of rounds through it, just getting a feel for it. I don't know. I like to get behind my setup. I like to shoot it out as far as I can, just to know, like, you want to know your setup. And obviously it's harder at longer ranges with that current setup because it's a 124 grain bullet. Like, it's going to carry through the wind. It's going to move, but man, it is accurate. Like, at 300 yards, you could cover that sucker almost with a silver dollar. I mean, 200, you could cover it with a quarter. So it's like, it's super accurate and lightweight, folding stock. I mean, we literally had it in our backpacks, like in our backpacks,
fold that thing up,
going through this
in your
nasty
backpack,
stuff.
You're done. Like, and it because it's the way that it's set up, it's probably above my pack, maybe
just a couple
2-3 inches.
That's it.
But if I run a little sling on the side there, that barrel is going to be well below. All I need is a little bit of drop there, and that thing is now
the height of your back.
Yep. And the other thing too is with that rifle,
so
the 6.5 doesn't not like it's going to break your shoulder when you shoot it. So you take the break off, and there's another 2 inches gone right there on the barrel height.
You know what else is nice too is just being able to throw it on a fluid head or a tripod, whatever you got, your Arca Swiss, just slap it on there. And now you're, especially in this country, because you're dealing with so much brush and grass.
99% of the time,
you're not getting prone.
You're not getting prone. Yep. You're shooting from above standing up. Joe, almost.
You shot yours prone. Yeah, I think that was.
Yeah, it was mostly prone with some extra help to get it a little higher.
A backpack under your bipod?
Yeah, fully extended Spartan bipod on top of the backpack. And I was sitting kind of funky, but it worked. It worked out.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we learned a lot on this trip with the guns. I shot mine the first time when we got here. JD, you set it up, didn't you? I got to say you did a great job because I mean, there's a black dot and I hit the center of the black dot. Like it was like a dime. I mean, I'm not tooting my own horn or anything, but I was a really good shot. And
no, we went to sight in here. Yeah, Brian shot the bullseye out.
And it was windy that day too when we got here. So
the only reason we, Adam, did not shoot the bullseye out is because we're sighted in for 200 yards. We're zeroed at 200. So we were above the black dot.
That's what they say. That's what they say. Yeah.
No.
I think it was left and right quite a bit too. But I mean,
touching black dot.
No, but it was it's a really neat gun. I'm excited to get it on some more trips. We were hoping we could take it to Mexico on this upcoming trip, but
just not enough time.
Not enough time to get it.
Paperwork.
Yeah. But pretty stoked on that. Now, JD, you were not. What were you running?
I was shooting a Mark V Apex, so in 240 Weatherby. Not exactly a huge caliber, but we were going over the list of guns that we had to bring. We had 4 shotguns. It ended up being a total of 9, so we were trying to cut one. And the 2 trips previous, I killed 3 with a bow and 3 with a gun, but 2 of the 3 that I killed with a gun were within bow range. So I was envisioning we were going to have some closer shots, and we just talked about it. Like the 240 is perfect Fox gun. The Apex has the new Bastion stock on it. I love that. We just thought it'd be a good one to bring, and it worked perfect. It was awesome. I was shooting 72 grain hammers. So,
and how fast?
3,600. So it's scooting. So, I zeroed at 200, and then out to 300. I didn't have to do anything. So, the Fox was 247 yards, I think, and then the buck I shot was 244. So
yeah, and that buck was Joe's, but you just shot it out from under him.
He needs to be faster on the gun. That's the bottom line. Do you want me to go into that?
Yeah. Let's hear this.
We're going up the mountain, and Joe was going to be shooter, 100%. I'm so glad I have the mic and he can't say anything. We're going up the mountain, and we were drenched. Like it absolutely dumped the whole morning, and so it was like 10:30 or something like that. We were just going to grab a snack, and the day before, Joe and I had been in this same little bowl, and there was like 10 does in this spot, so we were pretty confident that we would get into the deer. We set our backpacks down. Dang it. And as soon as we do, Joe had to go take a leak. So he's over there and he spots the buck. And he's like, "Buck, up there."
Are you mid-leak?
Like, yeah, I was doing my due diligence. I'm
you
always
shot a deer.
paying attention. Always paying attention.
ABG, always be glassing.
That is
always be glass.
Always bring your gun was the other one.
Okay. JD will make you think that I was like 40 yards away from him.
That's a lot of multitasking.
15 yards.
15 yards.
But I look over, he says, "There's a buck."
It was like 3 steps.
Kobe and I are looking like at the skyline, like a mile away, like not even close. And then we're like, "Oh, he's right there." And I had set my backpack down, pulled snacks out, but laid my gun down, as you should.
He laid it like it was already on his backpack, ready to go.
With the
like he knew the
bipod.
buck was coming out right there.
And all ready to go. And I looked at Joe and the buck, and we'd had a bunch of these times where these bucks, they just do disappear into the alders. And he was 2 steps from the alders, and I've been on that hillside. The other side is just a sea of alders. So I got on the gun. I asked Kobe, "Are you on him?" And he was like, "No."
Nope.
And he got set up, and I was like, "You better hustle," because I was ready to go. And as soon as he said good, I touched one off, and I thought that I'd made a bad shot. And Kobe did too. He was really good for my confidence. He's like, "Yeah, you definitely shot him in the guts."
They were both so worried. And I was like, "I'm pretty sure I saw him fall over."
Yeah,
like
he
right
said he
there
saw
on the edge of
kicking.
the alders, guys. They're like, "No, he's definitely gut shot. This is going to be really bad." I'm like,
I had not very much confidence after, not being sure myself. What happened, there's mist, but when the buck ran, it looked like that was, further back. We heard it hit for sure.
Yeah. But it was a great hit.
Yes. Yeah. You only went 20 or something.
So in hindsight, now that we're all sitting here and I think we need to judge as a group collectively, was it the proper move for Joe to for JD to shoot the buck, or was it proper etiquette for him to wait and let Joe shoot it and let it get away potentially? So what's the consensus?
Well, I think
JD made the right call. He made the right call.
I think we have to back up because Tyler, Joe, and JD had been hunting the first day,
Tyler's the marketing manager. You know, they invite Joe on the trip as a guest. But Tyler, the day before, a couple days before, had actually shot a buck out from under Joe as well. So maybe we should hear who's worse, JD or Tyler. Tyler?
That's a better say.
All right. So let me set the record straight here. So it's the night before day one, and Joe's like, Tyler, I'm going to pass the first buck anyways, and you're going to shoot the first deer. I'm like, no.
I didn't say it quite like that. I said, I said, Tyler, I want you to shoot first because you were up here earlier in the year hunting moose, and you unfortunately didn't get one.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough this year to have a lot of successful hunts that I feel really blessed about. So I wanted
Joe's saying he's a way better hunter than me.
No, I'm just saying I had some great opportunities, and I wanted you to take the first shot because I knew how excited you were about that.
Yeah, I was pumped, but I'm like, no, Joe, you're gonna shoot first. So,
and then I said, I'll get the first right or refusal. How about that?
Yeah, so it made it easy, and so we get dropped off at the beach in the morning, which we gave you guys, the easy hike in. So we took the long way around.
These suckers send us a pin and say, hey, we got some intel of a big buck right here. We'll stay out of there. Well, 9 miles later, they're standing on top of that pin. We're like, hey, stop. We're like flagging with glassing pads, like, we have bucks, don't go.
Yeah. Well, so back to the story. We're cutting brush, all this good stuff. We're starting to spot some deer. We're going to go to the top. That was kind of our goal, was to do this big loop. And we're seeing deer. We're trying to pick our way through. And we come to this one opening. We see like our first shooter buck, about 350. And it was like one of those things where it was quick. And Joe was trying to get set up on him. He's like, Tyler, do you want to shoot him? I'm like, shoot that deer. And then just like Kodiak, it just popped right into the bushes. So we're like, I
never saw the deer. I was looking in the complete wrong spot.
I saw
like JD's like, he's in that yellow patch right there. I'm like, I don't see a deer.
Which yellow patch?
Yeah. You know how it is talking people into a critter and you're trying to give landmarks. And I was like, it's in the snow, top left.
Yeah.
And then they were doing this discussion.
Yeah. And Joe's in front of me. I'm like, shoot it.
And so after that, I was like, how about we both set up next time? And then whoever's ready, you just shoot.
So that is a very important piece of information is what JD just said. Both get set up just in case. So we have lunch.
The priority is getting a buck down.
Yep. So
the group before us said it had been pretty tough. So this was day one. So we don't know.
We're like, we got to take every opportunity we can. So we go have lunch. We're on this good glassy knob. We see a bunch of bucks riding below us. And we're like, okay, well, let's just start making our way back towards our pickup spot. And as we kind of get to where we lost that buck, we were kind of getting into some good stuff. And then it was super quick. Right past that thicket that he went into, buck stands up. So we're doing the mad dash and scrambling. Everyone's getting set up. Joe gets set up. I get set up. And this is kind of the funny part. JD goes, someone needs to shoot that buck. And I'm like on the gun already. And Joe looks over at me. He's like, Tyler, do you want to shoot it? I'm like, no, you can shoot it. And he's like, shoot it. And it was like into kill mode right after that. So
Tyler had already clicked the safety off.
I was like, no, you shoot it.
He just needed it.
Yeah. So as soon as Joe said, shoot it, then Kobe was rolling and I was shooting a 300 Weatherby.
Okay. So you really put the hurt on him.
Yeah. I didn't want to leave no doubt. So I was shooting our new High Country, has a Bastion stock. I love that stock. It's super comfortable. So
195 hammers,
195 grain hammers.
Nice.
But what Brad segued to, he shoots the buck, makes a great shot. We get it all taken care of, loaded in backpacks.
That's when you march through our hunt spot.
Then we're heading back. But we got to keep backing up. In the morning when we're leaving, I give you guys the pin and I'm like, hunt this way. Yeah. They get in there and see bucks. And in fairness, who would leave bucks to go look for them? But we assumed you guys would be a long ways, this way and didn't think you'd be anywhere near. We're coming out and we get to like the worst spot on the hill. It's awful. We're sinking in this creek up to our knees. Kobe, I look back and just the worst noise ever. And big, tall Randy Johnson over here just goes into the creek up to his knees. And then right then they're flagging us like, no, we got bucks. Don't go that way. And we had just dropped a bunch of elevation and there's just a wall of alders. So we can't just head over, and you guys are pointing like, oh, just go that way. No big deal. And it's like, we got to go back up the mountain.
Yeah.
I was a real grumposaurus pretty quick. And we go up and over, and there was a doe that's like, what? You guys could see her, in frame with us. So, go ahead.
Yeah, no, she was 25 yards. I'm literally ranging the doe and ranging you guys. And I'm like, she's just feeding. And I'm like, they're too close. The buck is like 200 yards over to the side. Like, we're screwed. The buck's out of here.
I've come down that hill a number of times.
Yeah.
Where we were coming,
That's the
right
way
where
to do
you
it.
guys are
That's
at
the way to
is
do
the
it.
spot. Anywhere else, like
It's a
where you made
nightmare.
us go, was pretty awful. And we had seen a brown bear. So we forgot that part of the story. When we were up and had elevation, we could see the brown bear and we were like, maybe we'll just skirt this way just a touch. And then I had no idea that we had come right exactly to the pin that I said.
We had a great thing going on. There are two giant bucks rutting each other and circling and doing all that stuff. Then when you guys came, they all ran over to this hill and they were looking back at you guys like, what are you guys doing? What is over there? Why is this? And then they kind of shifted to the left quite a ways around the hill. And then they kind of rutted in all that. You guys left and some of the does came back out, but the bucks kind of, I don't know where they went. That's why we went up around the next day a little further, because it seemed like they had sort of pushed around. But one of the reasons I asked about, I still don't have a clear, JD made the right call. Is that what I'm hearing? And,
Yeah, I think he made the right call
because there's a dead buck now.
Yeah, 100%.
And, Brad made the wrong call a few days.
Yeah, Brad.
The bus
Hey, you
is
know what?
moving and Brad is laying down.
We were in a super quick, fast situation, and I got Adam's kill all on film with both cameras, and I had the big buck, the
Brad,
Megasaurus, as we would
we
say,
had a Kodiak Megasaurus buck in the crosshairs.
at 186 and 147 yards.
And I'm fumbling to get my camera out.
But the camera guy wasn't quite ready.
Fumbling to get the camera ready. And
Not quite as quick as you, is he, Brad?
In hindsight, I should have just...
let's remember, I was over there going, hey, to stop your buck from walking away. And he walked and he walked and he walked. He stopped once when I whistled and was like, what was that? And then he kept going. I expected Brad to shoot that buck if I couldn't get the camera up in time. But Brad was like, no, I'm going to wait for the camera to roll.
But he cares about your audience, Brian.
I don't. Like, I want dead bucks. I want dead giant bucks.
I know. I should have shot. In hindsight, I obviously should have shot. But so could have came home with a stud buck. But I have no regrets.
So who came home with the biggest buck then, Brian?
Adam stole my
Weatherby.
buck.
Adam Weatherby.
No.
Right, so JD stole...
Weatherby crew issue.
He's got
Yeah, Weatherby...
They make good rifles.
Here's
They're
the deal.
terrible
If we
people.
invite you on a hunt, you better be really quick on your gun. That's all I'm trying to say.
The guns shoot fast, and so do the people.
Yes.
No, I don't know. Like when Tyler texted me in July, he was like, "Hey man, I don't know if you've heard, but we're going to Kodiak," and I was like, "Sweet." And then he's like, "We're doing, there'll be bird hunting, duck hunting, fishing, and the deer hunting." And then we got talking a little bit more about ducks, and I'm like, I think it'd be cool. And all my buddies who are like avid duck hunters were like, you're going up there, you have to shoot this, this, and this. They're like world renowned ducks, And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Well, I think now I'm like a full-time legit duck hunter.
He was shot for bird
shots
dogs
of
on
harlequins.
last night.
So I'm like looking for dogs. I'm looking for all this
You're
boats,
like
all this other
everything.
stuff. I'm like, yeah, and I think that was my highlight. Like, I love the deer hunting, obviously, but I've never done the blacktail deer hunting, but at the same time, like I've never done sea duck hunting, and it's something that was incredible. Like we had a rough day on the water, but man, you have so much opportunity up here, the fishing, the duck hunting, the deer. And it's cool because it's like not just your normal average tundra flatland, what I had in mind for Kodiak deer. Like we're in the rugged mountains, you're climbing 1,500 feet, 2,000 feet to the top in some terrible, conditions when it comes to brush.
Yeah, when I was here hunting blacktails, it was real flat, open country. When I hunted mountain goats here, it was off the road system, and it was all green and thick. This is like a whole nother. We saw mountains like this where I hunted blacktails with Cole back in the day. We just didn't hunt them because there was so much flatland. Just valleys of flatlands. And it was a lot harder here. it's forested and thick, and then you got your mountains, your alder brush. It's serious. It was really cool country, and I think the bird hunting Adam, we shot off the bank. Brad, you shot out in the middle of the ocean.
I shot in the boat, and so like I don't know, that was something I really wanted to do because in my mind, I mean, it's still different in duck hunting. Like the little bit of duck hunting I've done in the lower 48 is you're shooting everybody's pop, 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 pop is whatever's coming in type thing, Where here, I mean, you physically feel like you're hunting the duck species because as they're coming in, you have guys like Nolan who's out there on the water helping us and stuff. I mean, he's looking through the binos and he's like, okay, the 2 in the front are drakes, the 2 in the back are hens. Like, only shoot those 2, or you've already shot 2 of this species, so like don't shoot this other one. You have to only shoot this certain species. So like you're really hunting the ducks versus just shooting ducks. So I mean, I don't know. For me, it was awesome.
So going around the room here, I have a question for each of you. We could start with Tyler, and then JD. Joe, come around the room. What are putting you on the spot here? You ready for this, Tyler?
I'm ready.
Here we go, Gretton. Grayton.
Third time's a charm.
That's right. What is something you feel like you made the right call on this hunt? And you're like, okay, got that right. That was a great move, like the highlight. And then what's something you feel like is a lesson learned? Like next time, this is something you're going to lodge in your memory now for all future hunts, trips, that kind of thing.
Man, I just feel like I nailed it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I would say preparation for like gun cleaning. I think I did well on that just with the shotguns in general. That was kind of my baby on this trip. Was doing some of the shotgun stuff and just making sure with like the harsh conditions, like we're in salt water and all that stuff. So making sure those guns are running good, just taking the extra time to bring a little bit of cleaning supplies and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was definitely number 1. Number 2 would be doing a few more like heavy lifting things because I did on day 2, like my knee, I could feel was not as strong. So like, cause there's a lot of side hilling here. So I think maybe doing a little less cardio, a little more like strength training, I think would have maybe stabilized my knees a little bit. Cause I also wasn't like expecting the super high elevation gain and loss. I knew it'd be mountainous, but not like every day from the beach to the top.
Yeah.
So I would say maybe a little.
Though. I told him like 10 times that it was super steep.
Well, I don't always listen to JD. so maybe just a little more strength training for the like literal physical walking up hills instead of just cardio.
Yeah, gotcha. JD.
One thing I nailed, shooting Joe's buck, 100%.
Yeah.
The thing I did terrible was pack this trip. I've been twice. I should know better. But for some reason, I took out all the things that I needed at the last minute.
Like puffy pants?
Puffy pants. All these things that like there's absolutely no reason to be. They're like oh, they're too heavy. Or there was no reason for all the things that I took out last minute that I was like, oh, everybody has those and I'm freezing to death. This is awesome.
Oh, so it was cold.
Every day I had everything that I brought and I was struggling a little bit. So I did not pack well.
Yeah.
We talked about that last night.
That's pretty easy to to do, right? You leave a key piece of warm clothing and then whether it be a set of gloves or and it makes all the difference, in terms of your comfort. Yeah.
So one thing I felt like I did good was packing, like for layering. I felt like I layered really good, which I'm usually really bad at. So I was really proud of myself because the difference between the bottom and the top, like when you're hiking through the bottom and stuff, it was getting really warm. So like, obviously we had to stop a lot and change layers, but I never felt like I got too sweated up, like I couldn't function. But the other thing I did terribly on was duck hunting. My feet were freezing. I thought my feet were going to fall off. Like JD and I kept looking at each other like, do your feet hurt? Like, yeah. My feet hurt really bad.
Yeah. That's easy to do.
But other than that, man, it was just, I think, a successful trip, even though JD shot my buck.
I think for me, we were testing some shotguns while we were up here, and those birds fly fast they're flying flat and fast on the water. So like shooting the shotgun, was nice. I mean, smoked that Harlequin out of the air, one of them. But I would say the other thing was, and Brian does this too, in preparation for these hunts, because I like my Laponias. We're hiking the mountains a lot up here. You know, it's steep. I don't want to be wearing a 800 gram, 1600 gram giant boot. And so like I pack toe warmers, the hot hands, like toe warmers, whatever. If I need to, I can put them across the top of my toes. And so like as we were sitting on the boat, I mean, it was 20 degrees maybe, plus like you're wet. And so I, gave Joe a pair of the toe warmers, and it's like, man, they're game changers. So on hunts like this, having preparation in that is key. And then obviously the thing I could have done better was not wait for the camera, shoot that giant buck. I mean, you obviously want to get it on film, and I had the opportunity to shoot that buck, but it's hard to not when you also have a business to run too.
Yeah.
It's what we do.
Yeah. Filming hunts,
it's a whole nother level.
It has cost me so many giant animals and opportunities and successful hunts. Trying to film just makes your success ratio drop dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do capture that magic, it's cool. It is so cool to go and watch the video of you shooting that buck. That's forever now. We get to see it over and over. You get to pick it apart too, because in the moment I have my memories, and then I'm like, I didn't even see that. Oh, that's what happened. To be able to replay and know where your shot went, often you don't really know for sure. But so film has its ups and its pros and its cons. I would say for me, in Brad's defense, I've learned this lesson 1,000 times. It's a rule that I live by. I always have the camera out. It's never in my bag. It's always out. It's always ready to go. Here, the rain is a little bit like Noah's flood rain. Like it was a lot of rain that morning, and I put the camera in my backpack, which I never do. I almost always leave it out and just let it get drenched, and it does pretty good. And we talked about it, and I'm like, look, we're going to motor up. It's dark. We're going to motor up there as fast as we can. It's like an hour and a half hike through the woods to the base of the mountain. And I said to Brad, hey, when we get there, don't let me forget. Let's pull that camera out. Make sure we get that camera out. So if we see something, we're ready to go. Okay. And then we just both got going.
Yeah.
I'm
as guilty as he is too, because I had the camera in my backpack. Like we're both carrying cameras, but it's so wet. You're going through brush. I mean, it is so hard on gear. Like
it's literally the only time I think in the last 300 days of hunting and filming that I didn't have the camera on my shoulder.
Yeah. Yep.
And so when the buck was standing there and Brad had his rifle sitting on it and he's ready to go, I started unzipping my bag, had to dig through it, find the camera, pull it out of its case, put the lens on it, and in the course of that buck is kind of chasing a doe and kind of moving around. And so I get the camera ready, and I'm like, and Brad's like, he went in the bushes, and that was it.
Yep.
So, and he never came back out.
So biggest buck we saw him for 5 days.
He's a megasaurus,
and he's alive.
The thing is, boy. And so for me, that lesson is just hit home again. It sucks to have to learn a lesson twice, but I should have had the camera out. You can't. One of the things that we've talked about is you can't capture magic with the camera if the camera is in your bag. Like you just gotta have it in your hand all the time. So when we're climbing up that brush and going through that nasty, the desire is to just stuff it in your pack and climb through those alders without it. Mm-hmm. But we're trying to bring people along to document the experience. That means you pull it out and you just slog through the brush with it, and your camera's getting beat up. You're checking your microphones. It's just it's part of that deal. And I never regret that. I never am like, man, I filmed too much ever. It's always, I wish I'd filmed more. Like when we pack out your buck, we should have filmed way more of that in the dark coming out.
That was a long, late. I mean, it takes a lot of extra energy.
And we got a little bit of video, but looking back,
Adam appreciates it because if I would have been videoing, I would have got him falling off the cliff almost,
right?
Saving his life.
We should have had the camera rolling when he was face down, hanging off a cliff.
Yeah, literally, almost.
We should have.
I was worried
slipped and almost fell off a cliff, and Brad grabbed the antlers that were tied down to the back of my.
And my only regret was that I wasn't filming it.
What?
Yeah. It's okay. I mean, I fell like 40 feet down the mountain. So it's, I mean, it's steep here. It's steep.
Brad fell 40, no joke, 40 feet, just whoosh down the mountain.
And like there was,
good thing you didn't roll. You kind of stayed
I literally
upright.
as soon as I started going, I just slung the rifle over my chest basically, and I kept my feet up, and I was looking down like, okay, I'm going to at least hit the bottom. I'm not going to go past the bottom of the alders. Yeah. But there was absolutely zero stopping because we just got to the tundra stuff, but it's frozen ground, and so it's just so slick.
Yeah, I'd say so. For my biggest regret, the thing I wish thing I've learned is just again keep that camera out and at the ready and film as much as you can.
And the trigger finger's ready next time it happens to not wait for the camera.
Yeah, I would say what I got right. I mean, being friends with the Weatherby guys. I mean, it's a good.
In all honesty, like this has been an incredible trip. Like I'm so glad you guys put this together because, like duck hunting, the deer hunting, all of it, like something I've never done. Man, it's awesome.
You don't forget it. Gear wise, I felt like nailed that.
Yep.
Been doing it a lot for a long time. Didn't make the same mistakes JD did. I probably you should have asked me. I had like 4 extra pairs of down pants and 4 extra, should have just,
The thing is like for me anyway, mostly kind of hunt to hunt. My gear as far as clothing and stuff really doesn't change that much. Like my puffy pants are always in there. I always have at least a couple packs of toe warmers, hand warmers, because you never know. Like you get in a bad situation, especially a really wet area. I always carry like, not with me, but I always have like 2 pair of rain gear, one back at camp or lodge or whatever that I can go back to just in case. But
2 pairs of boots.
2 pairs
That's
of boots.
always nice.
Yeah. We had the boot dryers here.
So Kobe, what about you?
Yeah, so a little bit different situation for me here. Like I was strictly filming, photographing, no tag in the pocket. So I feel like I definitely nailed my gear, what I brought camera wise, clothing wise, layering wise, like did really good with that. And then I had my cameras on my shoulder the whole time.
Oh, rub it in. Yeah.
And I was 2 for 2 on kill shots.
I had the quick draws.
Both of them were really quick draws. Like I was like, hey, there's a buck on the pack. Under 15 seconds, I'd say, having to turn camera on, make sure you're in the right settings, get on the buck, steady. So I nailed that, and I was super proud of myself for that because I'm newer into the filming side of stuff. Photography is my bread and butter, which I feel like I was really able to capture the essence of this trip, the grittiness of the duck hunt, and the gnarly weather, and then just hiking ridges and then people's with their bucks. So felt like I just nailed that, and what I could have done better is check the size of the boots that I brought up. So I had some schnees show up at the office right before we left and stuff them in my bag and get up here and look. I'm like, hey, Tyler, I packed your boots up for you.
Yeah, I was the beneficiary of that one, so I was pretty pumped about that.
Yeah, so they were supposed to send 2 pair, and they had to make a pair. They got them in the mail for us real quick. They had to make the size 11s. I'm size 12, and the 12s didn't show up. And we thought that the 12s were the ones that showed up. I put them on in the office. I'm like, man, these are tight, but I need them for the trip, so I'm going to run them, and packed them up for Tyler.
I appreciate that. The only other one, too, is your bag rolling down the mountain and losing some other person's doubler on a camera.
Yeah.
So that would be the only other one.
My backpack rolled probably 30, 40 feet. Like
we're sitting there glassing and just looking for deer, and all of a sudden Kobe's backpack just goes down the mountain, and then Kobe takes off on a dead run after it.
It was hauling,
and he did great. He catches it, but then comes right back uphill, and we're like, "Did you lose anything?" He's like, "Nope, nothing came out. Absolutely not. I checked."
So, well, I looked when I came up the hill, and I was like, "Oh, there's nothing laying here." But I was taking a time lapse of the mountains and the clouds kind of going, and Brad and Brian had given me the 2 to 600 to use, which is I have a 150 to 600, but it's a barrel lens. It's not an internal focus, so it does not do good in the moisture. And then a doubler for a lot closer kill shot footage, which I was like, okay, cool. I'll run this. That's great. They're not light, by the way. And so, but I took that doubler off, take that time lapse, and I stuck it in the case to keep it protected. And that's why that zipper pouch was open. And I ordered.
They're
a new
only
one last
$600.
night.
Hey, you know, if
Ordered
it
a new
makes
one
you,
last night, it's on the way. It's on the
makes
way
you
to your
feel any
house.
better, the doubler and the deer tag are the same price, you know, with a license. So
Yeah, but no, got a new one coming for you. Ordered it last night, so yeah, that's my take.
All right, Adam.
All right. Probably for me, wind has bit me the past 2 seasons about 3 times. And from a shooting perspective, not from a gear perspective.
Right.
And, this trip, like we said, it was probably over 40. Brian got blown on the ground a couple times, literally up there. And so I hit my buck further back and, of course, ended up recovering the buck, another shot, buck's dead, everything's good. As it turns out, everything's great.
Yeah.
As a shooter and as somebody who studies ballistics a lot, and I mean, it's in my blood. That's how our company started, was ballistics. And sometimes I get overconfident. Hey, our bullets are moving so fast, everything's good. You come up here, you're in this kind of wind. And I've had it happen a few times in the past couple years. And so I've kind of said this off season, we have access to 1,000-yard shooting range 5 minutes from the office that Weatherby has. And so I just said by next year I want to get a lot better with wind. And so I recently hunted with a guy who was a sniper in the Army for 20 years. And it made me realize after hunting with him that I have a lot to learn.
Yeah.
I mean, he can read wind absolutely nuts. And it's practice like anything else.
Right.
And some things that he taught me. So anyways, this next year, I want to get better on wind. And this trip was another reminder this season of I didn't judge it. I didn't respect it good enough. So I want to work on that. Think on maybe what I nailed was put together an all-star team for Kodiak 2023. So no, I just felt like it was such a great group. I think as you said, and to come together and kind of mix us all, from different things, from, a new team member, Kobe, and down to JD, who's been here and the things he provided. I think everybody had, so he had the experience. Tyler had the duck hunting passion and knowledge. Joe came with just an incredible attitude on everything. He must have said thank you. I bet 22 times to me this trip for inviting him. And I got to go up there and, kick JD and Tyler off the deer hunting crew, went up there, spotted Joe a buck, shot one real quick, came down. Joe made a phenomenal shot. He judged the wind perfectly. I told him my errors and not judging it. He judged the wind perfectly, knocked down the buck. It was an absolutely incredible shot, 300 yards with that same 6.5 RPM on the Range XP, which was cool. And then, obviously with the gritty crew, just to hunt with you guys again. And, the fact is on day 2, I shot a buck and then went and did a whole bunch of other things and thought you guys were going to get that big buck like 3 times over. Yeah. And
we saw him.
And you didn't. And so, thank you guys. I got to come off with my first Sitka blacktail, and that could have been Brad's first one. And so just, to hunt together and to have you guys have that, hey, it doesn't matter who tags, let's go up there, let's have a good time, let's come off the mountain, hopefully with a good buck or 2 or 3. And so your guys is just your intense passion to chase big bucks is so contagious. So I love hunting with you guys. And so I just think overall, it was so cool, to be a part of just the team together here. It was fun.
Well,
so,
Adam,
had a good time.
This is my second time like really hunting with you. We did the bear hunt in 2021. So, I mean, I let you shoot the bear then, and I let you shoot the buck now. I think I'm done. now. Just kidding. And this is always a pleasure. Like it's such an enjoyment for me personally, like watching your excitement and you take the buck. I got to see it in the bear in 2021, and like, I don't know, to me, that's just more exciting, and just as exciting as if I'm the same one shooting the buck. Like I get more enjoyment out of seeing somebody else and filming it too. Like being able to capture it on film. We get to watch that. The
honestly,
camaraderie, everything.
Brad nailed it. He filmed you. He had 2 cameras going at the same time. filming the shot, and you behind the rifle crawling through the grass and stuff. It's all live. There's no like we're not recreating any scenes. This is what happened.
Pretty raw and gritty.
Absolutely.
In those heavy winds and all that, you can see the wind just ripping on the grass that you're trying to get through. There's a lot of because there's duck hunting, there was fishing, lots of deer. There's a lot of content that we have captured on this trip. So for folks that are listening, watching, stay tuned because you're going to produce some content out of this, some film content. We are as well.
Yep.
Lots of photographs coming out as well. Maybe some, who's the writer around here? Yeah.
Some articles from Joe. We'll have some new shotgun releases on these prototype guns that we were testing.
Yes.
I'd say they held
So
up
is
just
a lot of this shotgun stuff going to be going on the Weatherby Flight
Weatherby
page
Field
and stuff? Because I know that's really new too.
Weatherby Field and Flight. We just launched a new shotgun. What is it? Channel? I don't know. This is marketing stuff.
IG.
Yeah, it's a page dedicated for shotgun hunting stuff. So it's like we have a lot of dedicated rifle guys, but within that we have a lot of shotgun content, and we just wanted a place for guys who like birds and like the upland, like small game hunting. So we started that channel just so that we can really focus on some of those moments that we capture.
Very cool.
We'll highlight that on Weatherby Field and Flight, but we did bring our Orion side-by-side 410 and did some small game hunting, killed a nice hare here. So pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
So that will probably
That's
be
right.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember some guys complaining about how long it took for you to get on it.
No, I didn't hear this.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot. I think, we have a great friend, Joel Turner. He talks about punching the trigger. And,
I punched it on a 410.
when you're on the safety going, oh, maybe we should take the corner.
Yeah. The rabbit's dead.
As you can tell, we've ribbed each other a lot this week. We've had a ball doing that, and it's been a ton of fun. Every day we had stuff like that where we were giving each other a hard time about shooting each other's stuff or forgetting a safety was on. Or
JD,
whatever.
you weren't there, but you should have seen me try to pump that shotgun.
I got video. I saw.
We all saw
You extra pumped that semi-auto, and I cannot wait for the gritty folks to see you pumping a semi-auto.
I have
The best part was the glove flying off. Like after the third try, you're like, I need more grip.
That's right, boys. I haven't shot a shotgun in a long time.
Brian used to hunt ducks back in the day in
I
Oregon.
did hunt some turkeys, but
Quite
again,
a
I
bit.
haven't shot a non-pump shotgun ever.
He went to pump it. It was. Oh, I
Did you
hope
see
that
the anger
I hope that footage
on my
comes up
face?
The
somewhere.
banter back and forth, you're like, it's not working. I need another shell. And Rafe is laughing. He saw the whole thing, and Adam's like, bang, bang, bang. You just pulled the trigger.
The new semi-auto pump shotgun.
Yes.
is a great one, isn't it?
I like that. I like it feels real modern.
We're getting signals that the charter flight is showing up in 5 minutes.
All right, folks. That's it for today. Thanks for tuning in to the
Thank
Gritty
you to
Podcast.
Jerry.
Thank you to Jerry.
Foxtail, Chad, Nolan, Rafe. These guys were incredible this week. They worked
Awesome.
really hard.
Yep. Hospitality off the chain. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, one thing I want to add, with the duck hunting, like Nolan and Chad and those guys, when it comes to duck hunting and, as a guide, incredible. Like, if you just want to come up here duck hunting, do it, because I'm a lifetime duck hunter now. I'm real hardcore. So
Brad almost died on the ocean from the videos I saw. It looked like
it was pretty gnarly.
looked pretty
But
nasty.
That just shows how good these guys are and
Yeah.
their experience and stuff. So if you ever have the opportunity, do it. Do it.
Yep. That's it. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Stay gritty.